News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Brought to you by Boulder Dash Boulder Delivery Service. When you absolutely positively need a 5,000-pound rock delivered to your doorstep in 30 minutes or less, we're the team you can count on. And now for even faster service, try our new Deluxe Catapult option. Get your boulders faster at Boulder Dash Boulder Delivery Service.
Thank you, Kelly Cruz, for that wonderful endorsement. I don't know where she digs these people up, Allan.
Well, the thing is, I'm working with them this afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
I got the trailer out there now.
Yeah, anyway, welcome to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. Yeah, I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning.
And I'm Allan Gilbreth with GeekySideTV.com.
Yeah, Kelly Cruz has joined the team, Allan.
Absolutely.
She enjoys finding those unique sponsors that we so dimmer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning.
And I'm Allan Gilbreth with GeekySideTV.com.
Yeah, Kelly Cruz has joined the team, Allan.
Absolutely.
She enjoys finding those unique sponsors that we so desperately need here on Tool Talk Radio. But Allan, speaking of things we desperately need, lumber prices. I feel like this is going to become a weekly report. I know it plays a big role in my life and in your life.
Last time I saw prices like this, I think it was. I think the word was Vegas.
Vegas, yeah, it's starting to feel like that. So we're going to report in, because it is relevant. It's part of our everyday life.
Oh, my gosh.
So this is interesting, Allan. I sent you an article the other day that triggered a whole flurry of texts between us. Low-tech building techniques to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And then you started pointing out, they were doing this like 1,000 years ago. Where have you been? But see, this is coming to the suburbs now. Got lots of science, fiber technology.
Indeed.
You're going to be bringing us that. We've got our must-have item of the week, of course, and we've got lots of other surprises that I'm not going to tease. But I'd say there's a mixture of old school and future tech. How's that? And home improvement. And, of course, we'd love to talk to you. You can call us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And you can even text that number, Allan. You can also join us at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and check out all the action there. And, of course, while you're over there, make sure you give us a like and, follow us. Send us your tasteful stories. Send us whatever's.
We love pictures. We want to see your triumphs. And, of course, we want to see your tragedies.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all coming at you today on Tool Talk Radio. But before we get to any of that, our Tool Talk Radio weekly salute. If you are fortunate, when you go to work every day, you'll have a job that you can really sink your teeth into. A violinist for the symphony will sink her teeth into rehearsing complex scales to prepare for her performance. A baseball pitcher, like the Chicago Cubs World Series champion Kyle Hendricks, will sink his teeth into spending hours in the bullpen perfecting his curveball. And unrelatedly, Allan Gilbreth has often been known to figuratively sink his teeth into spending hours concocting elaborate distraction in his company's lunchroom in order to literally sink his teeth into his coworkers' unguarded lunches. I mean, Allan, you could have just bought something yourself.
It's a full moon, man. It's a full moon.
And it should be noted that it would be impossible for us to sink our teeth into anything without the aid of our jaw muscles. Yes, the jaw muscles, the strongest muscle in the human body, capable of exerting up to 200 pounds of pressure on a given object. We can't know for sure, capable of exerting up to 200 pounds of pressure on a given object. We can't know for sure, but perhaps the inventor of the tool we honor today was inspired by this design, by the simple function of the human jaw. Whatever the case may be, in 1869, Daniel Stilson invented a plumbing tool capable of gripping round metal pipes so effectively that even to this day, this device, which has virtually been unchanged, can be found in every plumber's toolbox. My friends, we give you the pipe wrench.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Allan. I got one in my toolbox. How about you? So, oh, yeah. Let's talk about the pipe wrench. It's, we were talking about primal in old school. I guess what I like is just the simple nature of how it operates. So
it as we like to say, get a grip.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that useless. No, but it they do beforehand. I really don't know what they did to tighten pipes in the old days. I mean, I guess they had to be designed differently.
Well, I mean, you had leather strapping.
Okay,
and you would tighten it down and get a little bit wet, and then you could really, get in there and crank down on stuff.
Yeah,
but. At some point, you always have that one person that the status quo doesn't work.
Yeah.
They look at it and they go, I wonder. And usually, and I like your analogy of like the human jaw, because he had to have like seen a mouse eating a piece of corn.
Right.
Or he saw something other than what he was trying to do the action he wanted. And, that's got to be that eureka aha moment.
Yeah, it's something he probably did. He observed it in nature, something bit in. And what I love about the pipe wrench is that the more pressure you put on it, the deeper it digs in. Actually, you got to be careful not to dig it in too much. So, actually, you got to be careful not to dig it in too much. So, but anyway, I do want to say something because this is a great quote. Colonel Green was this guy's boss, Daniel Stilson, and when he came in, I guess this guy liked to use foul language or something, but the way he described his boss was very eloquent. Dan looked at me with strong language in his eyes. He was competent in use language, chiefly profane, and he exercised this accomplishment on frequent occasions.
Yes.
I guess he was pretty happy, and that's how he showed his happiness, so I don't know. But anyway, hats off to the pipe wrench. You're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to use decent language here when we come back and give you our next science story.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I wonder if they're fraternal or identical tools.
News Talk 98.9.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorgerson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Geeky Side TV. You can give us a call or a text at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. And, of course, we'd love to interact with you on Facebook. Go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Check out the a little sneak peek, Allan. I already posted the must-have item of the week. So if you want to be ahead of the curve, if you can't wait 20 minutes to find out what it actually is, go there now and find out for yourself. But give us a like, post your videos, post your home improvement triumphs and tragedies. So, yeah. And, Allan, I still want to find out who that guy was that insults us every time we come in from break. I'm going to get him. So. Anyway.
And by the way, just in case everybody needs to know, it's fraternal.
Yeah. Absolutely. Not identical in any way. Hey, Allan, in from break. I'm going to get him. So. Anyway.
And by the way, just in case everybody needs to know, it's fraternal.
Yeah. Absolutely. Not identical in any way. Hey, Allan, if you're new to Tool Talk Radio, what you're going to discover is we love space science. Any opportunity to talk about science or space science as it relates to as it's going to relate to home improvement. Let's put it that way, because a lot of times what you see in NASA is going to be at your big box store in a year from now. So you've got something interesting. You were talking about fiber technology.
Indeed.
And so let's talk, man. What do you got for us?
Okay. Well, we've had a lot of space news this week.
Oh, yeah. I follow it. But
well, let's face it.
But not everybody does, Allan.
It is now a thing.
Yeah.
And what is a thing? Space tourism.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, sorry, Allan, not to cut you off. If you have a Roku TV, you definitely want to download the NASA channel stuff. Sorry, go ahead, Allan.
Along with Geeky Side TV.
Yeah, and Geeky Side TV.
All right, but let's wander back into the wonderful world of fibers and explain what in the name of Sam Hill's going on. Let's go back in time and let's start talking about bulletproof vest.
Okay.
All right.
Kevlar.
Well, no. Let's go back to like cotton.
I don't know that I want to rely on cotton to block the bullets for me, Allan.
All right. Well, let's go even further back. Let's go back to the Mongol invasion and let's talk about silk.
Okay.
All right. Here's the beautiful thing about silk. Silk doesn't tear by impact. So here's your.
I'll take your word on that. I don't wear silk, but
here's your first case of a fiber totally changing a certain level of technology.
So Allan, just so you're saying they discovered that it doesn't tear, and that
Right.
led them to
So
silk might be useful for something.
Right. So you get shot by an arrow through your silk shirt. The silk shirt didn't give.
Once again, Alan, I'm going to take your word on that.
So
it probably still hurts.
Oh, it didn't feel good. I mean, let's be honest. But that was
Okay,
that
I understand the
discovery.
logic, though.
That was
Yeah.
that discovery that different types of fibers can perform different functions.
Okay, Alan, on this level, and sorry, I get it, folks. You should know when I get excited about a topic, I interrupt because I don't want to lose my train of thought. But Alan, with that in mind, I could see where instead of using silk, as a bulletproof or arrow-proof thing, maybe you line something with silk. Like maybe you've got to carry objects that are heavy, but they're very fine, and you don't want to loop. Maybe you carry sand with it. Maybe you carry, So,
All right. Well, let's
anyway.
fast forward to the original bulletproof vest.
Okay.
All right. Again, getting hit by a bullet.
Yeah.
Not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun. So they've actually discovered that what worked best was multiple layers of cloth with powdered glass in between them.
Oh.
So, all right. So, we're kind of getting this discovery thing going on. And let's talk about one of our favorite topics in the whole planet. Let's talk about plywood.
Okay, Alan. I was literally getting ready to write down plywood
I know,
because that's
I saw
the
you
first
reaching
thing you
for the
thought.
pen.
Because you've got layers of wood, layers of glue,
All
layers
going different directions.
Right. You cross over. If you ever wonder why plywood is so strong, it's because they change the grain on every layer. One's
Yes.
going one way, it crisscrosses.
Yeah, you're not going to punch that in your karate class and break it.
Right.
You're going to tear your hand up.
Okay.
So welcome to plywood. Welcome to layering. And so, all right, so everybody, we've said all of that to now get to, as you said, Kevlar, carbon fibers, spandex. Now we're getting into, because space tourism is going to be a big thing here, Richard Branson has already been into space, and Jeff Bezos just got back from space.
Oh, I thought he was leaving next week. Okay.
There's
All right.
I don't know who all went. I know those two went.
Okay.
So I don't want to misquote anybody.
Okay.
But yeah, if you've already been to space as a tourist, man, fair play to you.
Okay.
But you are going to be wearing the sum total of human history on your body, because you're not. That may look like a single ply cloth, but with our new nanofiber technologies.
Yeah.
And nanofibering has now shown up at your big box store. You can buy a sweatband that will cool you because of the nanofibers wicking moisture away from your body.
I bought one, Alan. I bought a hat that they say you wet it down before. Like when I'm working in full sun all day, I wet it down, and it does cool it off. Yeah.
Snap it one time really good to really activate the fibers, put that baby on, and you are substantially cooler. 5 years ago, you didn't have this.
Right.
So as we're looking at these technologies, keep in mind, folks, it's going to be all about layers. And keep in mind, folks, it's going to be all about layers. And we've talked about this in the past. If you want to dress warmly, dress in layers. Don't wear one big, giant, thick thing.
Sure.
And I'm setting the fiber discussion up to talk about, I don't know, maybe houses in just a little bit.
Yeah, well, that was my thought, Alan. The first thing my mind went to is, okay, for one thing, you're going to be wearing this stuff, but your home is going to be wearing this stuff as well.
In many ways,
Heat blocking curtains. Heat blocking. Maybe it gets incorporated into your sheetrock.
Have you seen the latest in fire protection technology for smoke jumpers?
No, what's that?
It is a multi-fiber, it's a layered fiber with reflective capabilities, so that if you were caught in an area where it was going to get too hot for you, you can jump inside of this bag that looks kind of like burlap made out of aluminum foil.
Or something.
I'm talking about like the guys out in California fighting fires right now.
Wow.
These giant forest fires.
So you have an oxygen tank? Because I guess you got to, you're going to run out of air pretty quick.
This is for that heat flash.
This is that emergency situation.
We need to get the skin covered.
Right.
So they have with them a bag that looks almost like it's made out of aluminum foil.
Right.
For your house, there are now radiant barriers that can go up in the attic, and it looks a lot like somebody made a cloth out of aluminum foil.
Yeah, see, it's funny because that's I hate, I really do hate when you and I are thinking alike, Alan, but it was like I was thinking of curtains, your sheetrock, and maybe this replaces fiberglass insulation.
Well,
I don't know.
Even in windows, we're getting into layered windows. You've heard of polarized glass, especially for windows and for your eyeglasses.
Right.
We can polarize or mirror.
Thinking of curtains, your sheetrock, and maybe this replaces fiberglass insulation.
Well,
I don't know.
Even in windows, we're getting into layered windows. You've heard of polarized glass, especially for windows and for your eyeglasses.
Right.
We can polarize or mirrorize exterior windows to decrease the amount of solar energy coming in them. However, a couple of companies out there are developing technology that turn the windows into solar panels.
Oh boy, yeah, and I had in my notes here, Alan. We didn't even tease that, but we are going to talk about solar because solar is going to change everything. That's sort of creeping in the back door. Like we talk about all these other technologies. We're talking about high tech digital stuff, but solar is the one that I think is going to make the biggest impact.
Solar's been around for decades. Its problem was solar was so far ahead of the solar. We relegated solar to kind of like a gimmick.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. That gimmick is about to take over the world.
Yeah.
Because now the ability to transfer electricity and the ability to store, retain, and reuse that energy has reached a point to it's at least equal to what solar can do.
Oh yeah, we're going to unpack that in our next segment. We're going solar, Alan. But just to kind of wrap up with these fiber technologies, the thing that's interesting is when you think of fibers, you're immediately thinking of cloth. You're thinking of something flexible. Well, not it's. I mean, it will be that, but it will be other things too. I'm really picturing this being incorporated into the sheetrock, into into the attic, into possibly plywood. Who knows? You could have a plywood layer that's insulated. You never know.
Wait till we get into the nanotechnology fibers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this stuff's fascinating. Maybe you could play a little game with this, Alan. Get your get the NASA channel.
Oh, yes.
Watch the news that comes out of NASA.
Guess what's going to show up at the big box store next?
Yeah, it could be like bingo. Like, I say January of 2022, we're going to be seeing this product, or we're going to be seeing this treatment or something, because it always happens. I mean, and that's why we support the space program.
Oh, absolutely.
Among other reasons. So, but anyway, we hope you support us here at Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to continue the high-tech talk when we talk about solar power. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Alan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the Big M Roofing hotline, or the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline at 901-683-0989. Or you can also interact with us at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Give us a like. Send us video. If you scroll down, I will say this. I don't know when we posted this, Alan, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. There's a video that this kid did. I say a kid. He looked like he was about 22 years old, of the most complex Rube Goldberg.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
I don't even know what you call it. This thing went through his whole yard. It looked like it covered 2 acres of property. It went on for 3 or 4 minutes. It was one of the best creations we've ever seen, and it's up there on Tool Talk Radio. It's one of the...
It'd be a great way to keep your teenager out of trouble for about 3 months building one of these things.
Tool Talk Radio family. And speaking of the Tool Talk Radio family, Alan, one of our great sponsors, Whitekurt Realtors, they are, get this, quick, easy, and fun. Those are the tag words that they're going for,
real estate.
For real estate, right?
Wow.
Which and then of course Kelly Cruz is part of that entourage over there. She's hilarious, and so, but and then they have a foosball table and a ping pong table and a pool table. And a pretty awesome kitchen. So that reason alone.
All right, now you know where to tempt me. It's
right.
kinda,
But see, they've all been in the game for a long time. Rick Bowman, the owner, he's been in the real estate market forever. He knows everything. He's been there, done that. He survived and thrived in 2008.
Well, the thing is, I got to say about Rick is he survived you.
Yeah.
Let's just get honest.
Yeah. He's our realtor. He's the one we go to for all of our our transactions. And but the good thing is too, Alan, they find with the bank. Let's go there. You get financed, underwritten, qualified, all of it in the same place. So they're great people over there. Weichert Realtors Benchmark. I feel like I got to spell it. WEICHERT Realtors. A little bit tricky, but you can. The phone number is not tricky at all, Alan. 901-202-2000. I don't even have to repeat that, but I will. 901-202-2000. Weichert Realtors Benchmark. Great people, man. And like I said, Kelly's been finding us some really quality sponsors, too. So, hey, Alan, before the break, we do we're mixing it up today. We're going to go old school in just a bit, but we're also going futuristic, high tech. And I say futuristic, but it's here now, but
right.
It was futuristic when you and I, 5 years ago it was futuristic.
Well,
but,
we're such a blend because we are discovering of technique.
You and I, 5 years ago it was futuristic.
Well,
but,
we're such a blend because we are discovering of techniques of the past with modern materials.
Right.
So I mean, the marriage is turning out to be absolutely amazing. We just got back from space because of those marriages.
Absolutely. So yeah, and so later in the show we're going to talk about old school and modern techniques just simply to insulate your home. So, but before the break, Alan, we started talking about solar power and
right.
The not disconnect, but the way it's evolved, because solar power, I guess it's been around for a while. They could capture the energy of the sun. The problem was storing it. That's where we were behind the battery technology.
Well,
right?
Let's go to the Sherlock Holmesian English garden, and your big open panels that the sun rays came in, humidity went up, the temperature went up, so people in a relatively cold climate could have plants or begin. Especially in the farming world, your big box store couldn't survive without greenhouses.
Yeah.
Because those plants that look so magnificent so early in the year started in a greenhouse somewhere. So our first application is as simple as creating something that could trap the heat.
Right.
Now, with solar, the real dream for us in our modern age is electricity.
Oh, yeah.
Because, all right, 150 years ago, wasn't electricity, it was heat. So back
storing the heat,
right.
or
their
or light, maybe, I don't know.
No,
maybe
their
using
technologies
sun.
was to get there.
Right.
Of heating and lighting. You also have to look at the price of lighting.
Right.
Of heating and lighting. You also have to look at the price of lighting. The price of lighting 200 years ago is why your grandfather is still so psychotic about turn off the lights. Because heating and lighting 100 years ago was very expensive. Today, we have light bulbs that use less than $1 worth of energy an entire year if you just leave it on.
Sorry, Alan, but once again, you triggered me. Can I say something? This is amazing to me. My electric bill for the last, I don't know, since we started using AC again, like a couple or 3 months ago, it's the lowest it's ever been. Like every month I'm like, okay, well, I wonder what the bill's going to be. And I'm like, how is it this low? I think we've changed over to a lot of these LEDs. Our home is slowly transferred to some of these more energy efficient, but I'm noticing it. Honestly, I think we're saving like $100 a month on this stuff.
Well, my case in point is a medical probably has 100 exit lights between the floors and the buildings and the hallways. There's an exit light everywhere. And it used to be a every week effort with carts of light bulbs to go around and make sure these things were lit.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple of years ago, we opted to go ahead and spend the money and replace the bulb with a screw-in LED replacement.
Yeah.
Since we finished that project, 2 years later, you haven't had to change a single bulb, and they've noticed a reduction in the electricity bill. Not a huge reduction, but noticeable.
Oh, yeah. You will notice it. You gotta do the whole house, though.
Well, even if you just do it bulb by bulb,
yeah.
If you go embrace the new technologies, you'd be surprised. You will see a difference in the production. So we keep, and I'm going to stay with my layering theme. We keep layering in better technology to accomplish old school ideas.
Yeah.
So now that we're talking about solar, of the power of the sun, we are in the South. For those of you listening to us outside of the area, the Mid-South on down, we get some sun.
Yeah.
And it gets hot. For our dear folks up in New York and New Hampshire and Wisconsin, I know when you see the weather and they say it's 105 degrees down here Fahrenheit, they're not making that up.
No.
It really is.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, think about the amount of energy being pounded down on us. And just walking through a big box store yesterday, as a matter of fact, there were any number of light up security lights that now have little solar hats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not big things that you got to go put someplace. Hats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not big things that you got to go put someplace and all these long wires. But honest to goodness, if you post this light where sunlight can get directly on it, this thing will be completely charged and be motion detecting all night long and illuminating whatever you want.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of where this is all going, right, Alan? Because we were thinking, if solar technology improves, that's sort of the goal. You get in the daytime, maybe you don't run so many lights because obviously you don't need them. But if it could make it through the night with enough of a charge. Now, granted, not every home's going to be able to do that. But even if you just put a dent in your electrical use, you will notice it. Like I'm noticing it too.
Well,
and it just
let's go back to Tesla. Let's go back to old Nikolai Tesla there. His dream was portable power.
What do you mean? Because I know he had a lot of dreams, but yeah.
And I was struck by how many devices now don't have to have a wire.
Yeah.
Friend of mine put a new fountain in her little fish pond, and it's got a little waterproof solar hat as part of the decorative part of it. You look at it, you can tell what's solar and what's not, but it's decorative.
Right.
But the whole time the sun is up, the whole time this thing has energy, it is generating enough energy to actually pump water from below up into the air, out into a fountain spray, the whole time the sun is on the pond.
You know what's great about solar too, Alan, is your old curmudgeon-y, get off my lawn uncle that doesn't embrace anything new and thinks, that he doesn't want a cell phone or any of that. They're kind of open to solar power because it's free. It's like you'll notice. It's like you'll notice. It's like, hey, Uncle Bob. I can light up the backyard for nothing for you. Oh, and they seem to be more open when it's saving them money. So yeah.
And there's the big key. The new technologies are saving us money.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's exciting, and I think as the storage capabilities improve for batteries,
yes.
That's what you need to keep an eye on, folks. And that's true in the automotive world, because I'm convinced, Alan, that we're not going to immediately go over to electric vehicles, but I feel like hybrid vehicles are just going to become the new normal in the near future.
Yeah, give it 5 years.
Absolutely. Well, we're keeping you high tech here on Tool Talk Radio at News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to go old school for insulation techniques.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I wonder if they're fraternal or identical tools.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can reach us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline at 901-683-0989. If you're too shy to talk to us, you can always text us a message. And also go to our Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. As a matter of fact, you know what's fun about this, Alan? If somebody is listening to us in real time, they can go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page, and they get a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about. They get a sneak peek of what we're going to talk about. I just posted an article there about the very topic we're going to talk about, Alan. Low tech, or well, I should say, old world technology that's coming to a suburb near you, basically. But so that's another reason to get over to the Facebook page. Make sure you like us, send us messages, interact with us that way. Just join the Tool Talk Radio family. So speaking of the Tool Talk Radio family, Alan, if you have any HVAC needs, this is interesting. We're already talking about, it all comes full circle around here. You definitely want to get in touch with the good people at Brown Refrigeration. They can handle your heating and air conditioning. They're really the only company you and I ever use, and boy, do we use them. You got them on speed dial, Alan. So.
I really do.
Yeah, we all send each other work around here. That's the nice thing. So, but also what's great about them, Alan, is the clean air technology, which you talk about high sun inside your HVAC unit.
UVC is a wonderful thing.
And, of course, their smart home technology, which basically from your cell phone you can say, I feel like turning the lights on in my living room, or I want to check and see what the cat is up to, or I want to scare off that jerk that's knocking at my door. Or,
right. Get the raccoons off the roof.
Yeah, you can do it all with Brown Refrigeration. And, of course, they're just fun to talk to. If you call, ask for Mrs. Brown. Ask her to tell you a joke when she calls it.
She's going to appreciate that, Jim.
Yeah, you can call them at 901-362-1881 or go to their very easy-to-remember website, brownref.com. And, Larry, if you're listening, we've got plans for you in the next couple weeks, so stand by. But, Alan, before the break, we've been talking kind of about high-tech solutions and the way technology is evolving, some of the things with fiber technology, solar power. But now we're looking, okay, it's hot. Some builders around the country are starting to embrace some technologies that have been around really thousands of years, right? It's pretty cool to see. So let's talk about it, man.
All right. Where to start on this? Basically, since we decided we needed a house, whenever that was.
Probably pretty early on, Alan. Living out in the field just wasn't cutting it in the middle of December.
That cave is nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start at the cave.
Okay.
Let's start at the cave. Here we go. Doesn't matter how hot it is outside. I'm going to pick on the Carlsbad Caverns because that's out in the middle of a desert.
That's California, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, here we are just in an area of the country that is absolutely baked.
Mm-hmm.
However, you get underground, it's 55 degrees.
Sure. Not that far underground either.
Not that far. It's 55 degrees.
They learned that in Star Wars. If you look at Luke Skywalker's moisture farm where he grew up.
Exactly.
That in Star Wars. If you look at Luke Skywalker's moisture farm where he grew up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's this interesting idea. Let's flip over to Iceland. And if you get underground in Iceland, it's toasty warm. Because Iceland is a volcano.
They learned that in The Empire Strikes Back, Alan. They buried
I am not
Star Wars
into a tauntaun.
I can Star Wars reference you all day. So yeah, absolutely.
So, you are exactly correct. And to continue your Star Wars referencing of Tatooine, Luke's house was a great example of desert living.
Absolutely.
Because you noticed nothing was hidden.
What do you mean by that?
All right. So remember when they were having breakfast?
Yeah.
And Luke had the weird blue stuff in the jug, which I thought was kind of funny. They were drinking Romulan ale that early in the day.
Sure. Absolutely.
Just to cross your references. But
there was a courtyard, which I think you teased is significant.
Exactly.
So, okay, but so the openness let the air move around? Is that kind of it?
All right. Well, think about what you have to get air motion.
Okay.
Air, like water, electricity, anything that flows must come from somewhere. It must go somewhere.
Right.
So I will pick on the house I grew up in Houston, Texas. Hey, guys, shout out for Texas down there. And, of course, that was a million years ago, right after stagecoaches quit running. And we had an attic fan.
Oh, those babies are nice.
And
we had one out here, too.
The way
Allan.
the house was laid out, you had this long hallway with everything based off of it. Mm-hmm. And when you kick that attic fan on, if you had windows open, you didn't just have airflow. You had a wind tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
You were sucking in leaves, small animals. I mean, air moved.
Yeah, of the attic fan, Allan. If people aren't familiar, because I don't remember seeing that growing up in Chicago. Maybe It's not as common, but out here, our first home had one of those. And like you say, Allan, if you want to just change the air out or cool the home off, you open all the windows, and you got to open them. Mm-hmm. In fact, if you don't open any windows, I think it's bad for the fan motor.
Right.
But man, it just instantly changes the air within 30 seconds. You've completely
air is moving.
Yeah, and it drops the temperature 10 degrees.
That right there is your secret. However, let's talk about construction for just a moment.
Okay.
We have a bad habit as just are the creatures that we are. We love new.
Mm-hmm.
So here comes this new idea, and immediately we're kind of keeping up with the Joneses. Everybody likes the new idea. So
that's how we get pressboard siding.
Here, in the
70s. Don't get me started. Yeah.
So here comes this new idea, and immediately we're kind of keeping up with the Joneses. Everybody likes the new idea. So
that's how we get pressboard siding.
Here, in
the 70s. Don't get me started. Yeah.
Oh, that's where we get so many bad ideas.
Right.
So here's this great idea. We now have electricity. Wow, we now have air conditioning, so we don't have to build shotgun shacks anymore. All right, why did we call it a shotgun shack? A shotgun shack was basically from the front door to the back door. You could fire a shotgun, and the blast would go in the front door and out the back door. All right, the reason they had screen doors on the front and back was cross ventilation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, but see, now we don't have to do that. We have air conditioning now. So now we can make the house a Rube Goldberg rat maze, and we have to pump all this air in to keep it cold.
Right.
Well, we're 40, 50 years, 60 years into this, and we're going, this is pretty much a terrible idea.
Well, you throw away what works just because for something new.
Well,
or you just assume that, it's obsolete technology. Well, it still works.
Well,
why not incorporate the best of everything?
But what happens when that technology doesn't work?
Okay, good point.
Now it is truly unbearably miserable because you can't move air through that maze.
Right.
So a lot of people, and this has been kind of a movement since the 60s, honestly, but it is really picking up steam now. People are looking at hay bale houses, cob houses, mud houses, adobe is back. People are looking at ancient building ideas. And again, I'm going to pick on your Star Wars again, of the softer edges, the better airflow, the ability to move air around the building without technological assistance.
Yeah.
And if you have something that retains the heat, all you got to do is get it warm once. And now it retains and keeps its heat all day. Or the same materials, once you get them cool, retain that cool all night long.
It's interesting you say that, Allan. One of my favorite shows to watch, I don't remember, I don't know if I know the exact name, but it's on Netflix. It's about really unusual home building. The name will come to me, but everybody probably knows what it is. But it's I remember watching one episode, and it seemed like it was some house where they got a lot of sun from till noon or something like that. Well, they had this huge slab of concrete in the center of the home, and it was kind of decorative, but it was mostly this just the rest of the day. It gives this ambient kind of nice soft heat that's not. It doesn't dry your nose out. It doesn't it doesn't crack your furniture, and it's just basically using nature and rocks to warm your home. And I'm like, I love that stuff. Marrying the old with the new, man.
Well,
and it's out of the box thinking.
Well, you're also going to get into water control at this point, because if you think about the Peruvians.
I think about those guys every day.
But one of the things is they were like, how do these guys garden? It's so cold up here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're digging these trenches and they're filling them up with water.
Yeah.
Well, that's because that water wouldn't freeze by morning and kept the plants from freezing.
Oh, very clever.
So here we go with water control, air control, light control, and we talked earlier, heat control.
Yeah.
Because either you had too much or too little, but the idea is, can we control it? Can we store it? And can we too much or too little, but the idea is, can we control it? Can we store it? And can we keep ourselves comfortable?
Yeah, I think the wave of the future, Alan, for just clean energy and just being, let's face it, if you're a cheapskate, you should be embraced. You should be the most high-tech person there is. If you're, you're going to save money on all this stuff, but it's the way to go. You don't just throw out the old because something new came along, and it'll be more efficient. It's more interesting. A lot of this architecture is pretty interesting,
Now, what I'm looking for is that 1700 to 1800s Mediterranean style with a house battery and solar.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
I mean, honestly, if you think about it, we're going Star Wars, because if you go to Tatooine, those look like these little 1,000-year-old adobe huts mixed with droids and and speeders and all this other stuff. So hey, Star Wars is if you want to learn more, go to the go to our Facebook page. We posted the article. It's really interesting. It unpacks this deeper. So another reason to go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Well, don't go anywhere. Hour 1's maybe in the can, but Hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio is coming at you from News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Alan, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have our must-have item of the week.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allen.
And welcome to Hour 2 of Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can call or text us at the 0989, and of course you can interact with us at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. We'd love to, get your input on how we can improve the show. Maybe I don't know. I don't always appreciate that, Alan. Or what we mostly are looking for is what are you doing around the home? What sort of improvements have you done? Have you done something you're really proud of? Have you done something you're ashamed of? Has your husband destroyed half the living room when he tried to we want it all. We want pictures. We want interaction.
Did you burn down the couch trying to get rid of that spider?
Absolutely.
We want to know.
Yeah, we want to know. So go to Tool Talk Radio, the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Send us messages. Give us a like. And also, Alan, for people that maybe just rolled out of bed and you missed the first hour of Tool Talk, never fear, because you can check out all of our past shows at tooltalkradio.com.
Indeed.
Whenever Allan gets around to posting them. No, you're getting better, and we're going to be beefing up the website around here too. So it's all coming at you. You won't. There's no reason to miss any moment of Tool Talk Radio.
We're there.
So hey, Allan. So before the break, boy, it's interesting stuff. Wide-ranging, old school building techniques. I say old school. I should say ancient building techniques. Modern technology. The future of home improvement and. All of that. And I was remiss, Allan, when in a minute we're going to get to our must-have item of the week. But one of the things we teased at the beginning of the show is lumber. It's getting, okay, you and I deal with lumber all the time. Lumber is my bread and butter.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I build decks and patio covers and everything for the outside of your home, and lumber is important to my life. Allan, it's getting like the stock market. I have to go to my big box store or I go online and check lumber prices. I never did that in the past. They were more or less pretty consistent, but it's coming down. Thank my big box store or I go online and check lumber prices. I never did that in the past. They were more or less pretty consistent, but it's it's coming down, thank goodness. Though, have you been going through the same dilemma?
Well, yeah, I did a small project about 3-4 weeks ago, and I needed a load of pressure treated lumber, and it was only about $250.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the exact same, right? All right, they're a little small. Another project came up. So, go down yesterday, pick up pressure treated lumber. And the same load of pressure treated lumber I picked up 4 weeks ago was now $150.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So it's, do your research, take a deep breath, and think happy, no hurricane thoughts.
Yeah.
And really think of a rain dance for the West, because we need a disaster-free year.
The people on the West.
Really think of a rain dance for the West, because we need a disaster-free year.
The people on the West Coast, they get pounded with those forest fires. Yeah, and that affects lumber too as well.
Well, it's as I love to tell everybody, nothing happens in isolation. Mm-hmm. So if you're freaking out about your lumber prices and that kind of stuff, all you got to do to predict what's going to happen in 90 days is read the news today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if there's a massive fire raging through XYZ forest, what is that forest known for? What comes out of there? Because you're going to be short it in about 6 months.
Yeah.
With the pandemic and with everything going on, a lot of things, a lot of different logistics are being affected.
Well, Allan, and I can't speak to every big box store around the country, but I know the big box stores that I go to, 3 or 4 customers that basically put their projects on hold.
Right.
Because partly 2020 alone was weird.
Well, yeah.
And nobody knew what was going on. And they're like, we better just wait and see what happens with these lumber prices. So they are coming down, but I'm starting to wonder, now that you're talking about these forest fires and everything, it might not be a bad idea to go ahead and get the lumber delivered to your place, or at least secure your order so you've paid for the lumber and make sure you've got that locked in, because it really is. It's almost like a stock market investment. I can't really see it getting as crazy as it did last year, though. I feel like it's got to level out somehow. The solid wood, like your 2x8s and 2x4s and 4x4s, I've noticed those have gotten much better, but Allan, to me, plywood still seems more expensive.
Oh, yes.
Why is that? Why is plywood pricier than the regular?
Well, because of the logistics of all of the different contents.
Okay.
Because, when you start talking about something like plywood, you're probably talking 5 or 6 different suppliers. So if there was a glue problem, or there was a pine problem, or there was a fiber problem, any one of these dominoes doesn't fall at the right time in the right place, now you have a backlog in the logistics chain.
And maybe, Allan, just the assembly process is, because plywood is assembled. There's a warehouse. There's a factory. Well, maybe their protocols change because of COVID. Maybe they've got things that slow the production down.
Yeah,
so that would make sense.
Lots of places where you can clog up the system.
Yeah. Anyway, but so we're gonna. I guess we're gonna be watching that. That's gonna be our. We need some stock market music. This is gonna be our the lumber update, basically.
The ticker tape.
Like you said, in 90 days, maybe we'll get. Everybody pretty much agrees by the end of the year, barring unless the Earth is hit by a meteorite, it's probably gonna level out. Well, hopefully it's probably gonna level out. Well, hopefully the studio here doesn't get hit by a meteorite, Allan. We don't need that. We don't need those kind of problems. But anyway, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and then I promise we're going to get to our must-have item of the week.
I'm Allan Gilbreth with Tool Talk Radio, and here's a Tool Talk quick tip.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Now is the perfect time to get your chimney cleaned, serviced, swept, and capped. As you probably found out this spring when the birds moved in, you've got lots of noise and now lots of debris lining your chimney. When you go this fall to try to set a fire, there is a good chance that you will ignite things in the chimney and have them come blowing out the top. So why get it done now? Well, time. The chimney sweeps are not terribly busy, and you can get all of this finished done. And with your chimney capped, you won't be worried about having angry birds as soon as they show up in the spring. This is Allan Gilbreth, and that was a Tool Talk Quick Tip.
Tool Talk Radio, Saturday mornings at 8. News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Memphis needed a new source for talk.
This is an all-hands-on-deck moment.
News Talk 98.9. You're welcome. News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. The Roar. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I wonder if they're fraternal or identical tools.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Geeky Side TV at 901-683-0989. Or if you're shy, go to the, or no, I should say, Allan, if you want to brag, if you want to show off all of your home improvement triumphs, send us some pictures at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. And, of course, while you're there, be sure to give us a like. And if you're just waking up with your first cup of coffee and you missed the first hour of Tool Talk, never fear. You can go to tooltalkradio.com and check out all of our past shows. So they're starting to stack up, Allan. Soon you can binge listen. Yep. They'll hours and hours of good, clean fun. So, hey, Allan, and speaking of, well, I don't know if this is good, clean fun, but anyway, actually, this is a lot of work sometimes, replacing your roof. I want to remind everybody, if you do need to replace your roof, there's a lot of moving parts here. You may qualify for your homeowner's insurance may actually cover the replacement of your roof. In many situations, that's the case. You don't know. Sometimes, everybody, if you do need to replace your roof, there's a lot of moving parts here. You may qualify for your homeowner's insurance may actually cover the replacement of your roof. In many situations, that's the case. You don't know. Sometimes, we're not experts. How often in our life are we going to ever replace our roof? Maybe
once, maybe twice.
Once or twice. Right. So it's not something you think about every day. But I'll tell you who does think about it every day, Allan. The good people at Big M Roofing. Jay Hill. That guy's hilarious, for one thing. If you if you meet Jay,
the word unconventional leaps to mind.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You meet Jay, for one thing, talk to him for more than 5 minutes. You guys probably know the same people. He knows everybody. I don't know how many contacts he's got in his phone, but he's like, oh, yeah, I got, Bob's number or something. But anyway, so he knows his stuff. But the interesting thing about Jay is his background is in insurance and in contracting. Right. So if you're trying to navigate those waters of, do I have a claim or not, just call up, help you. And what I like is they install roofing systems. It's not just here, let's nail some shingles on the roof. Right. It's all of it is a system. It's well thought out. And these warranties are insane. They're like lifetime transferable warranties on your shingles.
That's correct.
I've never heard of something like that.
Well, and this all ties into all of today's topics, too, because as we all know, water is the enemy, and your roof is your first and best line of defense.
Yeah, absolutely. They're accredited with the Better Business Bureau. They're like 5-star reviews. And like I said, just calling Jay is entertainment alone. That's worth the price of admission. So you can call them at 901-379-8184 or go to bigmroofingandremodeling.com. So, yeah, he's part of the team. And by the way, Allan, if you want to be part of the Tool Talk Radio team, give me a call. Just call me directly. Call me at 901-921-7105. By the way, Allan, we are going to be introducing a new team member. I think he signed on. He's eager to join the family. We're basically looking for experts in all areas of home improvement. So he's got sort of a unique business that he runs, and I can't say anymore because, like I say, we have to wait till all details are finalized. So, but Allan, let's jump over to our must-have item of the week. We teased it, and I already posted it on our Facebook page. And tell people what I'm holding up here.
You're holding up a high-tech version of a glass of water with a string.
Okay, yeah. And if you don't know what that is.
Basically, that's called a level.
Yeah, well, here's what I got. I call this the speed level. This is a small one. Okay, so folks, if you can't see through the microphones, this is a level, which I'm sure you know what it is. It measures horizontal, vertical, and 45-degree angles, but it's got a nifty little magnet on the side.
Oh, yes.
And if you go to our Facebook page, you're going to see I basically stuck this level on the corner of one of the walls here in the studio. I basically stuck this level on the corner of one of the walls here in the here at Cumulus, actually. And people may go, well, how is it that it sticks to sheetrock? Well, there's a reason, Alan.
Yep.
Tell us why, because your kids are going to be amazed.
Under that sheetrock.
Right. The corner beads, most of the time, some of the newer homes use plastic, but mostly it's metallic. So what's great about this little 9-inch speed level is, for one thing, sometimes you don't need a big 2-foot or 4-foot level. You just need something quick. You want to level a picture. You want something you can throw in your tool belt. You want something that if it falls off a ladder, it's not going to break. Right. But also what's great about this is this is another one of these tools that, we're all about getting young people working with tools. They're going to have fun with this. They can walk around the house and see if the door is level, see if their sister's head is level, see if but then they can learn to stick it to the corner, and they can but everybody should have one of these. I would say have a good variety of levels, but I'm a big fan of the speed level. I call it the speed level. I don't know if that's what it's called or not. But
that's good enough for me, but that's just one of those items, once again, you can't really imagine not having.
Yeah, once again, I wondered about that, Alan, because, I think earlier in the show you might have mentioned the Taj Mahal or something. And I was told that, I watched a documentary about that, not to change the subject, but they said the corners, there's 4 major corners, and they said they were they were precise within, I don't know, a 16th of an inch or some crazy number. And I'm like, how did they do that in the old days? They must have had some leveling technology, but...
Well, they use plumb bobs.
Well... To get level, though, how do you use a plumb bob in a level?
To get that corner lined up perfect.
Sounds like a lot of work, man.
It was a dramatic amount of work. It was nowhere near as easy as walking over with your level and slinging it up there and going, all right, it was a dramatic amount of work. It was nowhere near as easy as walking over with your level and slinging it up there and going, all right, that's good.
Yeah.
They had 5 guys in a bamboo structure 20 feet high and a string and some other poor thing tied to the bottom of it. And it was effort.
Yeah.
But, and the thing I look at, and people look at this stuff, and they look at something like the Taj Mahal, and they go, well, how did we manage to build that?
Sure.
And, I always got to remind people, this is the big secret to any project you want to do at home. How did they build it? They wanted to.
Well, good point, yeah.
Because 90% of what we do, and you have one of the perfect tools in your hand.
Yeah.
90% of what you and I do is just having the confidence to try it.
That's a good point. It's having a little of that Captain Kirk spirit, just leaping into the breach. Because let's face it, a plumbing disaster waiting to happen. So you take it off, and you've got to have the confidence and the bravery to put the new one on, and hope for the best.
Especially light landscaping projects. Well, I always wanted to put bricks around my garden. Okay, well, let's get a shovel. Let's get the bricks. Let's get a level. Why do you need a level for the bricks? You want it to look straight, don't you? You want it to, and it's, what's I find so many times is people, when they accomplish something small, get kind of bold.
Well, that's
then
the whole
it's kind of
thing.
like, well, all right, well, we got the garden done. I hate how my patio looks.
Sure.
And then the next thing you know, you're getting that phone call goes, all right, let's talk about the dishwasher. And you're going, wait a minute.
Yeah. It's a snowball effect. So, yeah, people, if you're new to home improvement, if you're a new homeowner, if you're a young couple, just start with achievable goal effect. So, yeah, people, if you're new to home improvement, if you're a new homeowner, if you're a young couple, just start with achievable goals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Confidence building steps. And again, go to our website, take a look at the level that we've got up there. If you've never played with one before, honestly, they're inexpensive at the big box stores or the big package stores. Go buy a couple of small tools and give them and play with them.
Another thing, Alan, you might have, boy, we're really beating this into the ground, but you're making me think. You might have a window or a door that doesn't function properly. Well, grab your little speed level and stick it up there, and you might find, oh, no wonder it's off by 1 or 2 degrees, and it's that's why there's a crack above the door frame, or my foundation is settling or something.
Or I need to tighten in those hinges. Or there's just so many little things, but so many people, especially when I go out and consult with families. And I love new homeowners.
Yeah.
So many people, especially when I go out and consult with families, and I love new homeowners.
Yeah.
Because they are usually so terrified.
Right.
Of why, oh my gosh, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Again, something so simple as a level, something as simple as a pry bar can totally change your confidence level about how do you want to tackle a project.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, Allan, and let's wrap up because we've really discussed the level in depth. But I will say, I said it's nice for kids to use a level because it's an interesting way of teaching them things. I'm still fascinated by the level. Every time I put it on, like I said, door casing or a deck or something, it's always just interesting to me. It's like, you got to make a little adjustment, or you shim it up this way, and that little bubble is so precise. And it's another one of these basic technological things.
You were looking at a truly
great. So get yourself the. This is a 9-inch speed level with the magnetic. You got to get the magnetic side on it.
I love the magnetic.
I think it's like $10. Another one. One of the things I've noticed, Allan, consistently is our must-have item of the weeks they're usually pretty affordable. We keep you under $100 most of the time.
Easily.
Although I may be bringing in my miter saw in the near future, but that might make a mess in the studio. So, hey, Allan, I want to shift gears a little bit. You came up with, I guess we're calling an audible on this. We didn't tease this, but off the air we were talking about some of these things. Star Wars. We're thinking of subterranean homes because basically, if your living room is 5 feet below the soil, suddenly that you're cooling it off.
My living room is
right. Well, Allan, I don't see so much of this here in the South, but we don't have a lot of basements here, although we do have some. But I grew up in Chicago, and everybody had a basement.
Right.
And one of the basements here, although we do have some, but I grew up in Chicago, and everybody had a basement.
Right.
And one of the tools or I don't know if this is a tool, but one of the home devices you brought up is called a sub pump.
Yes.
People here in the South may not know what that is, but tell us what that is and why it is so critical.
Well, one of the jobs that I am currently working on right now, again, we go back to our phrase, water is the enemy.
Yeah. For home improvement, if you're thirsty, water is a blessing. Water is your friend.
If you're in the desert, water is your buddy.
Yeah.
If you're building a house, water is your enemy. There is a lot. People forget there's a lot of water around. And especially when you begin getting subterranean.
Sure.
And by subterranean, I mean a foot down or more. And just my personal house is a split level below ground. And I mean a good 5 feet. So every time it rains, anything like that, water is always trapped against the lower foundation, and it will find its way in.
Exchange some sub pump stories because I have a horrifying story from when I was a kid of when sub pumps go wrong. I think that's a monster movie, Allan. So, anyway, you're listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break and continue our discussion about sub pumps.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I wonder if they're fraternal or identical tools.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from the Brown Refrigeration Studios. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry, and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. You can reach us at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling Hotline. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989. Stories and the items we've posted there today. We posted our must-have item of the week, the 9.5 inch, it's a 9-inch magnetic speed level. I'm calling it that. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I call it.
That's a good name for it.
They call it like the speed square, like the framing square, so I can call it that. Speed sounds cooler, and it'll make you want to have one. So, and you can check out the story we talked about old-fashioned, building techniques that are being adopted again, and maybe coming to a suburb near you. So
Everything old is new again.
yeah, we've been before the break, Alan. We were talking about sub pumps, and we're going to get right back into that discussion in a moment. But Alan, you run Geeky Side TV, and I'm curious what's the latest, because every week it's kind of like we were talking about watching the lumber prices that are ever changing. Well, Geeky Side TV is ever growing. So what's happening over there?
Yeah,
man?
welcome to Roku, Fire Stick, and Apple TV. The networks are getting bigger.
What's the latest? Because every week it's kind of like we were talking about watching the lumber prices that are ever changing. Well, Geeky Side TV is ever growing. So what's happening over there?
Yeah,
man?
welcome to Roku, Fire Stick, and Apple TV. The networks are getting bigger, faster, and going great. Right now, one of the big things we're dealing with is, of course, the Memphis Film Prize.
Okay.
Wow, what an amazing local event of over 80 submissions this year. So a lot of people competed to make a movie.
Yeah.
Shoot it in Memphis, finish it in Memphis, and we'll bring a little more to this in the next couple of weeks. But the big film festival itself will be in Memphis.
I'll tell you this, Alan, not to interrupt you, but I do want to say something, because I've come around full circle. I grew up in Chicago. The arts were everywhere. We grew up going to the art museum. I moved to San Diego to make that transition. I really missed the ocean. I am now a full-blown Memphian, though. 25 years later, I have to say, the arts are powerful out here. We have more personality, and I'm looking at Nashville right now. Not to point fingers, but we're sort of the scrappy younger brother. That you talk about the arts and creativity and unique voices that you see in the South, but Memphis has got it all, and there's a lot of filmmakers here, so that's who's being celebrated, I guess.
A lot. A quick little shout out to the host of On the Scene, Miss Kate Mobley. She is a top 10 finisher so far.
Awesome.
Ooh, yes.
So we'll be watching this with great interest.
Oh, trust me, if she wins, everybody's going to know.
Well, how do people log on to Geeky Side TV?
Well, they just need to go to geekysidetv.com, and they can follow all of our adventures there, or they can go to the Roku TV and just subscribe to the channel. They can follow all of our adventures there, or they can go to the Roku TV and just subscribe to the channel for free.
Absolutely. So, and once again, if you're a content creator and you want to become a TV star, well,
there's a
talk
chance.
to Allan.
Yeah,
They may put you on if you're up to snuff. But send it to Allan.
It's a big market, guys. So we're looking for you.
Absolutely. So, Allan, okay, let's shift gears. Before the break, we were talking about sub pumps, and just to paint a picture. Now, I don't know what else. Like I said, Allan, I don't see a lot of sub pumps anymore.
Right.
I barely ever see basement. So I'm not probably as up to date on the latest sub pump technology, but I can tell you when I was a kid, we had one in our house. And as I recall, in our basement in the corner, there was a metal, like a round metal plate. You took it off,
right,
and you might even see a level of water there,
right,
and you heard a little motor that looked like it was submerged in that water humming away, which is always freaky. And in fact, I'm convinced that my twin brother used to throw stuff in there that he, just to be a
to make
jerk.
it go away.
Yeah. But anyway, so what's going on there? Is that what a sub pump still looks like?
All right. Well, in sort of a way, it works a little bit like a toilet.
Okay, I can relate to that.
Okay, because when you pull the handle, all the water falls out of the tank, and then the water level goes back up in the tank, and when it reaches a certain point, the switch is turned off and the water stops flowing in. So you got a little water control valve. You got a little fluid master that controls that. Okay, the sump pump works exactly the opposite. So what you have is a catch basin or area where you have, again, water is the enemy. Water is always present, so you might as well deal with it. So we've given the water a place to be.
Okay, so instead of it surrounding your foundation and surrounding the concrete wall,
will always follow the easiest path.
So it the gravity is pulling it down, the sub pump draws it in.
And once the reservoir fills to a certain point, the switch is activated and the pump begins to operate and cleans the reservoir out.
I would think it has to keep the water moving some degree, or it's going to get stale, right? I mean, so
well, it
every now and
pumps the
again
water
it's flushing
down.
it. Okay.
Well, it pumps the water all the way down
Into the sewer?
No, it pumps it right out into the backyard. In this particular case, a sump pump can sit dry for years, which is like your dream and your hope, especially in your basement or something like that. And this is where the house battery in my brain suddenly really becomes invaluable. As technology changes in the next 5 to 10 years, as we have talked about many, many times, once you have a house battery, whether you're on the grid or not, so it's that big summer storm, and boom, boom, out go the lights. Well, congratulations, your house still would have electricity, and something as valuable as a sump pump would still work just fine.
Absolutely.
So you're not going to flood the downstairs of the house.
Now, I'm a little ashamed of myself. We've been here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar for about a month, and we have yet to bring up the house battery, which is, you and I are big advocates. Mm-hmm. That is going to change. You know, the quick way to think about that, folks, is to have a rechargeable battery. It may be powered by solar. It may just be powered. It's going to be like a battery backup in some closet in your home. And so when the power goes out, it's going to run. It's like a laptop computer. Yes. When your laptop, you plug it in. When the battery's charged, you can unplug it and just work off the battery.
Walk around the house and work with it. Yes.
And so, yeah, I agree, Alan. A sub pump. I wish they had that when I was a kid. Sit back and I have a tale for you, Alan. So basically, my sub pump. The reason I even remember what a sub pump is we lived in a home in Glen Ellen, Illinois, beautiful suburb outside of Chicago, and we had some bad storms roll through. And our house was situated kind of at it was a gentle hill, but we were at the bottom of this hill. Right. And we had a basement. It was, I'd say the ceiling was probably 7 or 8 feet. It was a pretty, average size ceiling. Right. And first of all, we had a tornado that came through town and knocked the power out, followed by torrential rains. Right. And we literally could watch what happened because the sub pump went out. Right. Our basement started to flood, and it flooded, I'd have to say 7 feet. We were down there grabbing things. I remember as a kid, I think I might have even had to wake up in the middle of the night, helped my family grab stuff so it didn't get destroyed that was sitting in the basement, and we just kept going. We watched it kept going up, and it came to the top step before the power finally came back on and lowered it. But it's all because the sub pump failed. So we could have really used one of those home batteries.
Oh, my gosh, yes. So this is one of these little things where if your house doesn't have one, fine, don't worry about it. If your house does have one, this is, again, one of those annual checks. Mm-hmm. You need to kind of just mark the calendar somewhere during the year. Doesn't really matter when. But you need to make sure that the sump pump is clear, it's clean, it's in good working order. This is one of those items you just want to install and forget. Yeah. However, you don't want it to remind you.
Yeah, you don't want to forget about the sub pump. It's kind of like our discussion with gutters, Alan. I have this tendency to maybe come across as very anti-gutter. Mostly what I'm anti is people that put gutters up and forget about them. No. Gutters are an ongoing maintenance issue, and if you have a basement, you have an ongoing maintenance. Is people that put gutters up and forget about them. No, gutters are an ongoing maintenance issue, and if you have a basement, you have an ongoing maintenance issue. Fortunately, like I said, here in the South, a lot of people don't, which, to be honest, I don't miss having a basement. The only thing, you lose storage, but honestly, I just, basements are creepy. They can smell bad. They're
always water. Again, water is always the enemy, and a basement is a great place to lose that fight.
Yeah. Although, Alan, if these building techniques continue, we may be seeing more basements because, and maybe we'll see improved sub pump technology.
Well, we'll see improved wall technologies too.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, our home, I think the one we grew up in was probably built in the 40s or 50s. It was a little older, it wasn't quite up to snuff. It wasn't up to the job when it came to that. But, if you've got any sub pump stories, let us know about them. Go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and send us a picture. Or if you don't know if you've got any sub pump stories, let us know about them. Go to the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page and send us a picture. Or if you don't know what a sub pump is, I don't know, Alan, maybe you ought to post a picture or something.
We'll put a link up there.
Google it. Hey, Google videos on when sub pumps go wrong. That sounds like a hot one.
That's pretty terrible.
Yeah, that'll be fun. So, well, we hope you're having fun listening to Tool Talk Radio, coming to you from News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, wrap things up, and we have a little surprise for you.
Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
I wonder if they're fraternal or identical tools.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
I'm going to get that guy, Alan. You're listening. Welcome back. Here with my buddy Allan Gilbert from Geeky Side TV. And yes, fraternal. We've established that. Not identical.
Although I have to admit, if you gave one of our descriptions to the cops, they'd pick us both up.
Yeah, bald guy, goatee, medium height, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we pretty much, that part is correct. And one day, Alan will tell the story of how that got me into trouble at one point when I was misidentified for Allan Gilbreth, and my reputation suffered extremely. So
I'm not sure it suffered. I think it improved it a bit.
Okay, well, we can be reached here, but you'd have to be quick at the Big M Roofing and Remodeling hotline. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989. Or you can also get us at the Tool Talk Radio Facebook page. Send us some pictures. Send us stories. Make sure you like the page and make sure you share it with your friends. So, and if you miss any part of Tool Talk Radio, never fear. You can go to the Tool Talk. You can go to Tool Talk Radio. That I had a surprise, and it occurred to me the surprise I have can't be announced for at least 3 or 4 more weeks. So. Sorry, folks.
So you have a pending surprise.
I guess, sort of. Yeah, and I don't want to build it up too much, but it's cool stuff. Basically, it just it establishes the continued growth of Tool Talk Radio.
Ooh,
and
sweet.
our reach in the Mid-South. And with this 100,000 watt
Oh yeah,
giant
you're just
broadcast
you're
tower.
just giggly about that.
And Alan, I was also remiss because I forgot to remind people, if you need a deck or a pergola or a patio cover, I'm doing a lot of patio covers these days, or anything made out of Trex decking. I'm in the process, Alan, of becoming
You are a convert.
Well, the thing is, I've got a nice relationship going with the Trex distributors around here, and they told me the process I need to go through to become a certified Trex installer. Oh. I mean, I already know how to do it, but I guess they have a certain thing if you hit these certain bell at people. So if you want Trex, but anyway, if you need anything made out of wood or Trex. For the outside of your home, give me a call at 901-921-7105 or visit my website, thorshomes.com. So, Alan, I want to just circle back on something because I think we teased this, but and I think we sort of discussed it in our discussion of subterranean. Well, actually, we got a couple of subterranean things to discuss.
Okay.
You talked about a watchdog sensor because we were talking about sub pumps before. I want to hit that, and I also want to talk about courtyards before we get out of here today. But circle back. What is this? We talked about the importance of if you have a sub pump, don't just ignore it. Make sure because
Right. Yeah,
so
a watchdog sensor, most people will find those in the Mid-South on their hot water tank.
Okay.
And a watchdog sensor is just exactly that. It's a little sensor that goes down into the drain pan that is underneath your hot water tank, or find those in the Mid-South on their hot water tank.
Okay.
And a watchdog sensor is just exactly that. It's a little sensor that goes down into the drain pan that is underneath your hot water tank, or could be in your sump pump drum.
Now, the water tank is that if it starts filling up, it's like, okay, you don't want this thing to overflow and
it will turn
go into
off
your ceiling.
Your hot water tank, or it will perform whatever the alert function is that you want.
Right. Okay.
The problem is, of course, after these things get wet a few times, they may misread, or they may not stop sending a signal. So if you have an incident, you always want to check your watchdog switch.
Okay.
And again, the number one place you're going to find those is on your hot water tank.
Yeah.
If you don't have one on your hot water tank, please talk about getting one, because it will save it would definitely have saved you a ceiling or two over the years.
Oh, absolutely. And I would say if you're somebody that has a sub pump in your house, outages and floods and rain, that's when you need the sub pump the most. And
yes.
it's most likely to go out at that point. So you need that backup system.
So you're looking at a uninterruptible power supply, a UPS that can be installed someplace above water level.
Absolutely.
So you don't want to short out your power while you're trying to get rid of the water.
Yeah. So and like I said, we'd love to hear your sub pump stories because we never discussed this. I can't even remember the last time we ever talked about sub pumps. But Allan, okay, so that's we've kind of I think brought that idea to a close. But I want to talk about courtyards because in our discussion earlier, we were talking about old-fashioned building techniques, and you said something last night during our exhaustive show prep that courtyards, they aren't just a decoration. They weren't just because, just for architecture. There's a function behind a courtyard, and they've been doing this since the Roman time. That courtyards. They aren't just a decoration. They weren't just because just for architecture. There's a function behind a courtyard, and they've been doing this since the Roman times.
Yes.
So why were they doing this, Allan?
Airflow.
Talk to me.
Here we go. Let's talk about let's wrap it all up. Let's throw in your sump pumps, your gutters, your airflow, your water control. All right, this was all part of having a courtyard. The biggest thing is the more and the deeper you make a building, the harder it is to move the air.
Okay.
And if you don't have any way of artificially moving the air, now you have got, basically a modern home. The air conditioning goes out. You're going to die of the heat in there. It is just miserable because you can't get any airflow.
Oh, I think I see where you're going with this.
Now,
Okay.
with a courtyard, what you did was you had all of your rooms around the courtyard so that everything...
Okay, Allan, what I'm thinking of these Google Maps, when you look straight down at a house or a building from a satellite. Well, if you had let's just suppose you had a big square house or something. Well, those rooms in the very middle are getting no airflow. They might not even have a window.
Right.
And then the courtyard just sort of it expands. So, that's a great idea. That's very interesting. So if you had two windows, you might be able to open both of them, and every room gets cross ventilation.
Exactly.
Very nice because
everything old is new again. And this is where especially if you've been someplace like New Orleans, and you go through, you'll
have
go
fun
through
with that
little
this time of
walkway.
year.
But you'll go through this little walkway. You'll go down the little hallway or something, and suddenly it opens up. And again, this is like Google Earth. You look down on it, you'll notice a massive number of buildings all have courtyards.
Very interesting.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's
courtyards.
Very interesting.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's
all built, that French architecture, that Mediterranean architecture worked just as well in New Orleans as it did in the south of France.
It's pretty interesting, Allan, because like we said, we're not saying get rid of your air conditioner. We're not saying get rid of any of your modern conveniences. We're saying why make them work harder than they have to.
We're saying augment this.
Yeah.
Let's get back to a more relaxed way of living using these wonderful new technologies on top of the ancient technologies we knew that worked. So where they used wood and mud and cob, we have amazing new products that don't catch on fire, that won't burn down. However, they've got better R factors. So let's take the old stuff that worked, let's steal that, let's couple it with the new stuff that works. As we look forward, we're looking at housing in the future being a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
Being a little more efficient. Being a little more Star Wars, if you want to call it that.
Honestly, Allan, when you're talking about it, we talked about it earlier in the show. It's you look at Star Wars, you got these houses that look like they could have been built 1,000 years ago, mixed with technology. It may just get like that. And
it is getting like that.
Right. Well, it just might start looking. And I love the notion of basically utilizing nature to your advantage. Okay, we've got this big fireball up in the sky giving off all this energy and heat and everything. Why not tap into that? It's, instead of digging into the ground to dig up oil, why not use what's right there?
Well, and, again, water control. of, again, water management. You really, if you put these things on the forefront as you're building, as you're designing, water control of, again, water management, you really, if you put these things on the forefront as you're building, as you're designing, then you're not fighting nature, you're working with nature.
Yeah, and you know what I'm thinking, Alan? Now that I think of it, a lot of the newer homes, I don't know that I see a lot of courtyards. I see some great backyards. I see some great, patios and things like that. But I think the courtyard might be an interesting design element to bring back just based on what you're saying. I'm picturing if you've got young kids, if they're in the courtyard, you don't have to worry about them wandering off around the neighbor. You know, you can keep an eye on your 3-year-old if they're in the courtyard. Yeah. You don't have to worry about safety. It's more than likely a decent chunk of the courtyard's going to be in shade for the majority of the day because unless the sun's directly overhead, there's going to be shade. It's a great place to entertain. I don't know, man. Now I want a courtyard at my house, Alan.
Grow in your courtyard.
Okay, good point. Like, why is that? Just because it's more temperate in the middle?
Well, think about the strawberries and blackberries and all of the wonderful little treats that we love. Mm-hmm. Of why not have that secret garden?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to keep my eyes open for that. But now it really does make me think. And now that you mention it, Alan, one of the oldest buildings in Memphis is the Memphis Brewery.
Yes,
and they have a courtyard.
Yes, they do.
They have a big. I mean, it's a tall.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and they even have some sort of I don't know if the stairwell design is based on airflow and everything, but they have that big towering kind of rotating. Right. Not spiral staircase, but, similar, like going up. I don't know, man. It's just interesting. Now I want to go downtown. I want to walk past all of the really old buildings and just pay closer attention to the...
one of the things that cracked me up years ago doing a building inspection was we were in an old building, and there was a huge chain and a ship's propeller in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody is kind of like, what madman was down here? And I was dying laughing. Because then I pointed out the chute that went outside, and you know what, guys? That was a 1900 20-ton air conditioner that actually held 20 tons of ice.
I think that's a tease. That's going to be, hey, Larry Brown, that's going to be our next discussion when you come on board, because that's an interesting history. That's something that's a story to unpack. But let's do that with our HVAC expert, Larry Brown. But lots of interesting topics today, Alan. I like the variety of old school mixed with futuristic. So. But, Alan, once again, we hear the music.
We do.
The time wheel waits for no man. So you've been listening to another action-packed episode. Of Tool Talk Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We have to get out of here today, but just remember, go to tooltalkradio.com, go to our Facebook page, and like us, and follow all our adventures over there. On behalf of my buddy Allan Gilbreth, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.